Scenic Sunken Gardens Park, with its iconic windmill, is one of the most popular and most photographed tourist destinations in Pella. Over the years, the park has appeared on over 35 postcards, and even 2 picture puzzles. Here are a few examples. But as popular as the park is, not everyone knows the history behind the Sunken Gardens Park and windmill, or that they trace their heritage back to the earliest days of tulip time. Pella's first annual Tulip Festival was held in 1935, in spite of, or maybe because of, the Great Depression. This initial one-day festival was organized so hastily that there was no parade, no tulip queen, and no tulips. At that time, tulips were not especially common in Pella. Instead, local woodworker George Heron improvised by constructing 3-foot-tall wooden tulips that were placed around town. To prepare for the second tulip time, local civic groups teamed up to sell tulip bulbs to homeowners who began bordering their properties with tulips. Soon after that second tulip time in 1936, the Pella Junior Chamber of Commerce, better known as the J.C.'s, was formed. The J.C.'s first request was to take over the sale of tulip bulbs and utilize the proceeds to create a new park, to be called TaleofTulipTown, which would showcase tulip gardens. The request was promptly granted, and J.C. member Walter Fowler offered land for the park. Located along North Main Street, the site contained a long-abandoned, man-made pond, here visible in the background, that had been constructed in 1893 to hold water for Pella's first electric power plant. The power plant had been located across the street on the current site of Lincoln School. A landscape architect soon produced a sketch of the proposed TulipTown Park, and the J.C.'s commented, "Last year, considerable agitation was evidenced by our visitors for a general tulip field, and as a result, the TulipTown has been planned to fill that need." Initially, community enthusiasm and donations ran high, but by October, fundraising slowed, and the J.C.'s confided, "The people of Pella are not cooperating 100% in buying tulips." To help supplement their fundraising, the J.C.'s decided to put on a play. A 2-night run of For Pete's Sake was presented in the high school auditorium prior to Thanksgiving. Admission was 25 cents, equivalent to about $4 today. The proceeds netted about $125 for TulipTown. That fall, the initial landscaping of TulipTown was completed, and 15,000 tulip bulbs in 100 different varieties were planted. But the J.C.'s still felt one thing was missing. On December 3, they made an announcement, namely that a windmill will be the attraction of TulipTown. A group of public-spirited citizens have taken it upon themselves to see that TulipTown contains the one thing most characteristic of Holland, and that is a large windmill. Businessmen have envelopes with which they are soliciting contributions of $1 each in order to cover the cost. Those $1 donations would be equivalent to roughly $20 today. The J.C.'s continued to raise money by presenting a second, elaborately staged pageant called The First Commandment on December 8 and 9. Over 75 local participants were featured in this lavish production. In January, a list of TulipTown donors was published as a way to say thank you, but also as a way to prod further donations. The Chronicle chided, "If you cannot contribute at least $1 to help them, to say nothing of creating another beauty spot for Pella, then you are not in sympathy with Tulip Time." Despite the prodding, fundraising languished. All that changed in early February when the Pella Women's Federated Club stepped in and took over fundraising for the windmill. The Women's Federated Club graciously accepted another responsibility. They have agreed to see to it that this new project of the Junior Chamber of Commerce has its windmill for TulipTown, a most commendable move. The financial results were immediate. The Women's Federated Club aggressively pursued the $1 envelope strategy of generating donations, and within a week, fundraising had surpassed $425. 2 weeks after taking over the drive, the headline read, "Windmill Fund is over $600. These resourceful fundraisers had reached out to out-of-town manufacturers and suppliers with the result of an additional $191 in donations. Tulip time was now only 7 weeks away. Bids for the windmill's construction were due March 26. On April 7, with tulip time now less than 5 weeks away, came the headline, "TulipTown to have its windmill." The cost was estimated to be slightly over $925, around $16,000 today. The contract was awarded to Pella carpenter Frank Rosa. The Chronicle reported, "Work will continue steadily so that TulipTown will be assured of its windmill in time for the Tulip Festival." As promised, on Monday, May 10, the new park and windmill were ready for the first day of tulip time. At 7 p.m., TulipTown was officially opened. The first 2 years, TulipTown's pond had no retaining walls, but after tulip time in 1938, a rock wall was added around the lagoon, and stone walks were laid throughout the park. The park was a big success, and was often filled with tourists. In 1939, an article in the Chronicle suggested that the park name be changed to avoid confusion. Sunken Garden was suggested because visitors already think Pella is TulipTown. And so, Sunken Gardens it was. As the years rolled by, the park more than achieved the JC's goal. It became a landmark. Today, it is more beautiful, more refined, and more popular than ever. Pella offers its gratitude for the JC's vision and to the fundraising of the Pella Women's Federated Club for giving us this enduring symbol of Pella's heritage. Happy 80th birthday, Sunken Gardens, Windmill, and Park.